Julius Erving was two different people at the same time. And those two different people allowed him to speak to different audiences.
T-Bone, Prime Cuts, podcast on the other side.
Talk a little bit about the difference between Dr. J and Julius Erving.
Well, that's a great question because that is one of the things that sort of I really thought about while writing this book, is that Julius Erving was two different people at the same time, and those two different people allowed him to speak to different audiences. He's when he's on the court and he's doing these moves that, at the time they would call them like playground shots or circus shots or things like that. um that was Dr. J in action. And Dr. J was his alter ego. He was kind of somebody that was right out of Legend, that could do sort of anything with the ball, that could fly through the air, that could dunk it in ways that no one has seen it before. And that's the sort of person that can really speak to African American audiences in particular, that grew up in urban settings watching sort of street ball being played on asphalt courts in the inner city. And that's a very sort of like, black way of being and carrying himself. But then when he steps off the court, he is very conscious of this idea that professional basketball is, the ABA in particular, is kind of in need of somebody who can really sort of speak for the league and help a struggling league along. And so he is mature enough to take on the responsibilities of being basically an ambassador. And so he's answering every question. He's making himself available for charity events, for the media, for kids who want autographs, basically anything like that. And he's really conscious about the role that he's playing as a model and a spokesperson for the league. And that is Julius Erving. And that can speak more to the white fans. There becomes such a disconnect between a sport that is growing increasingly black in its players and an audience that is staying kind of persistently white in its fan base. And so the sort of thing that professional basketball is dealing with in the early 70s and through the 80s in particular is, how do you take a sport that is 75% black and sell it to an audience that is 75% white? And Julius Erving is basically the answer to that he can be the person that is speaking to the black roots of who he is, while also speaking to the sort of white fandom that is getting a little bit anxious about the changing demographics of the game.